Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven, accompanied by Queen Taylor, and we're going to be doing Denmark's forest kindergartens. And this is from SBS Dateline, and we've been receiving a lot of requests for this one, and it just intrigued me. So we're here. And actually blame Taylor for doing this video because we were looking, what is this? What are we looking at? And the thumbnail alone, when you guys see it, you'll get it. You'll be like, okay.
I was like, yes, we're doing it right now.
So
right now.
So you guys, let's hop on over the video and see what Kids Gone Wild forest children are. What are forest children? No idea. Sorry, Bird Kingdom.
But like, just to make sure you're ready.
Oh, look at that little guy. Yep.
Up med jer. Up med jer. Oh my god, they're gonna freeze out here in the forest.
I was very worried about the water.
Once in a while, there's a child. I'm freezing.
What did you think when you came from England and you first saw kids playing like this?
It freaked me out.
Like 4-year-olds with knives making freaking stick shivs.
I love it.
What?
I honestly love it. This is like what the Boy Scouts was, you know. Yeah. They used to have camps like this back in the early 80s and 90s when I was growing up.
Did they give you knives?
Oh, yeah. Bows and arrows. You get like little, I mean, obviously you get trained in how to use them and what you're doing with them. But yeah, I don't want to compare this to the Boy Scouts because that was a very strict and regiment thing when I was going to it. It was very structured and we weren't out in the forest, but they did teach you things like that. And I love that because it gets kids into nature somehow and into the wild. Like I'm all for it.
Okay.
I am all for it. Teach those kids how to, make a fire,
I mean, I don't disagree with a lot of those things. I would not give Decky a knife at 4 years old to shank a stick.
To carve a stick, baby.
He's turning it into a shank.
He's turning it into a spear.
He's preparing for prison.
He's preparing to kill a rabbit or something small.
I think survival skills are
Yeah.
very important. I do not disagree with that whatsoever. I think that's a little young for some of the,
extreme temperatures.
I think a really young child with a knife, I don't know.
And we could tell.
I'm not in that situation.
Right now with the extreme temperatures, children hold their heat a little bit different. Like,
yeah,
we might be cold, but our son, like at night especially, like we're freezing. And he's like, get these blankets off my body.
Yeah.
I
I think if you were in a situation maybe where this was more like actual survival skills not skills, but you're in a situation where you live out in the wilderness and this is your lifestyle, that's one thing. Me imagining my child of like taking him out to the woods and giving him a knife. I
mean, it's all subjective, right?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
all situational too. Like their climate, their culture, where they're where they're located. I love it. Copenhagen.
Four-year-old Nicola Towns is joining her kindergarten friends in the forest. But they're not on an excursion. This forest is their kindergarten.
Se, her er små troldøer. Her er også trolde oppe i den her skov. Prøv at se. Troldene har taget deres ører af.
It's freezing today, only 5 degrees. But even when it's raining, snowing or minus 20 degrees, you'll find these children playing and learning outside.
Den der kravler der.
Det er en tusindben.
Så her bor de inde under om vinteren. Så sådan passer insekter på dem selv. De kan bo inde under barken.
It might sound extreme, but it's not unusual in Denmark, where 10% of the preschools, about 500 of them, are forest kindergartens.
Wow.
They're run by pedagogues like Johan Leigård, someone with a university degree in human development.
Nej, hvad gør vi så? Hopper I bare ned her, eller hvad? I løber bare.
See, the fact that that kid knew what a millipede was is like proof in and of itself, like why this is effective. Because it's one thing to read about it. Kids are going to be way more engaged if they could see it, feel it, touch it. And as he's explaining things, it's like all on display.
Yeah, I think that's great. I plan on, I mean, you know this. I plan on homeschooling our son, and that is absolutely my plan for things. It's more hands-on. You learn better. It's better all around. No, I think that's great.
Whenever you have a subject matter, just like go find it and go explain it and talk to it so you can see it in real life and how it's applied. Like, I love this. Yeah. I wish we were in Denmark. Like,
let's go.
I want to do this.
You have a lot of visitors come from overseas to see how you do things here. How do they react?
They are thinking, what are we doing? And when do you learn to go to school? And why there is no fence? And wow.
Wow.
It's important for young children to learn what it is to maybe be cold, what it is to be wet, and survive that.
Yeah.
My name's Jane William Sigfridson. I came to Denmark over 20 years ago and was amazed at the outdoor things that young children were doing, and I now live and work here.
Jane's the author of a book on forest education in Denmark. She's brought me to a forest kindergarten near her home outside of Viborg.
He's in the tree, and it's only a very thin sapling tree. It's very, very wobbly. It takes an awful lot of balance to sit in that and use both hands at the same time. In an ordinary playground, they wouldn't have the opportunities to develop those physical skills.
Yes.
Jane runs outdoor education workshops for teachers and carers from around the world.
I'm gushing over this video. I'm seriously
absolutely
gushing.
Loving it.
I'm absolutely loving it. I think this should be implemented all across the world because this is just fabulous.
Yeah, it's a lot less intense and scary than I thought it was at the beginning when I saw children with knives and in very, very, very tall trees on very skinny, thin branches. But I mean...
But the balancing, right? Like that's a big one. Even for us, it's like, you know, teaching your child to balance and to not only face the weather and how to adapt to the cold, the heat, the water, but it also gives them a place to release that energy. So I bet you they probably run around, they do all these things, but like when the teacher's ready to teach, they all come together because that's the agreement. You can go do this, you can explore, you can learn, you can do all this, but when it's my time, come on around, kiddos. I
also think it's really good for your imagination because in a standard playground, you know, you climb the jungle gym, you go down the slide, you swing on the swing. But here, you know, they were pretending that big fallen down tree was a ship. So, you know, you're using more imagination, which is super key for brain development.
Yep, love it.
Those physical skills.
Jane runs outdoor education workshops for teachers and carers from around the world, including Australia. While we've been talking, the kids have moved on to their next activity.
Wow.
Are you going to tell me this isn't as dangerous as it looks?
No, it's not dangerous. The children have learned how to use the knives properly.
From
so
what
it's not
age?
seen as some kind of weapon. It's a tool for doing something, such as whittling. I think many cultures like to wrap their children up in cotton wool. I don't think that's about a lack of love here for children by their parents.
He's not even looking.
They see it in a different way. And in fact, children should have the chance to be free.
So you hate that.
Okay, but
They get taught how to do it.
I hope they teach them with like plastic knives first, though, until they see that they can handle it well. I mean, one kid's just like really fast. I'm waiting for him to nick his finger. The other kid's not even looking. I
know it stresses you.
That stresses me out a little bit.
But again,
it's one thing to make sure they're ready to handle a knife, but I don't feel like those two, the one kid was doing good, but he needed to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. And he'll learn from his mistakes if he does nick his hand, right? You have to respect the tool that you're using. It's a knife.
You do, but at 5 years old, how much respect do you know?
Well, let him cut his hand, then you'll find out. But I love that because you know what it is? I 100% think that they had dull knives when they were teaching them. They had instruction. They were going. And they're just demonstrating what they've learned and how comfortable they are with a knife. I'd rather a kid be comfortable and know a knife than not know anything and stab his brother with it.
I completely agree with that.
So I'd rather teach them young so they know that this is a tool, this is a very sharp tool, know how to use it in the right ways than some kid playing with a kitchen knife and not knowing anything. And
I agree with that.
I love this. Love this so much. I'm going to get our book and read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your?
I mean, that was me as a kid,
here?
but
yeah, I
you have to use your brain.
There's nothing I got.
Picturing my son up there.
That the kids, they can take care of themselves.
Matti, are you afraid of anything? I was watching this boy climb to the very top of the tree, other boys hitting the log with the stick very close to each other. I couldn't see you or anyone else.
I was standing up there and I saw it too.
You saw it?
Yes.
You weren't worried?
No. That's a part of the play almost every day. And they learn to be careful. Sometimes they hit, yes, they got a little accident. But that's the way to learn. Only once I have to drive to the hospital with a boy with a big injury in 17 years. So I'm not worried.
One time.
And what was the injury?
It was a parent who drove over a foot of a kid.
It wasn't even because of a kid?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Godt, der kommer en pind. Det er godt, Nicola. Der er en pind bagved dig nu, siger de.
The world's first forest kindergartens were founded in Scandinavia in the early 50s. Today they're also popular in Germany, Austria and Switzerland. Some locations are more challenging than others. Johann's kindergarten sits less than 100 metres from a fjord, but there aren't any fences because they're not needed.
Oh God.
It's not needed.
Why do you
go
stop
right to the
here,
one?
Carl?
Fordi her må vi ikke gå. Man skal have en pædagog med deroppe fra, inden man går over.
See, they need to have a teacher before they go.
I think one of the big things that I see here is the amount of trust that there is in Denmark.
American kids don't listen like that.
Formal inspection of kindergartens.
No, they're
There's
not
no
being
one
brought
that
up like
comes
this.
round
Yeah.
and checks up that you're doing what you should be doing.
But how easy is it for parents like Nicola's mother Nadia to trust the pedagogues and their own kids?
I know my sisters, so they can run down to the water. I was like, yeah, but they don't do that. You know, they know where they're allowed to go to. They don't.
You trust them. Do you think a lot of it's based on trust?
A lot.
But I must say I'm happy that I'm not down here during the day because I'm a bit worried when Emil crawls into the top of a tree.
So you're happy that you can't see it?
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
At Nadia's house, I meet her husband, Paul. He's English. Danish forest kindergartens came as a big culture shock.
In England, kids can be harmed in any way, you know, falling out of a tree or something like that. Then they won't allow it.
There are just a handful of forest kindergartens in the UK. The US only opened its first in 2007. Australia, 5 years ago.
What do you think it is about Denmark that they can get away with that, but they can't in England?
It's hard to explain. I really don't know what it is about the Danes. It's just a very relaxed frame of mind they've got about things, everything.
One of the main reasons Nadia and Paul have sent both Nicola and her 6-year-old sister Jessica to a forest kindergarten is their fear that the virtual world is distracting the girls from the natural one.
Yes. As soon as they come home, all they want to do is play the iPad. That's what they want to do. Well, you know, that worries us that they'll do that. So we try to encourage them to go outside and play more.
Surely not everyone's convinced about the value of an outdoor education. This is Jessica's primary school. I've come here because I thought the teachers might be concerned at how kids from a forest kindergarten struggle to adapt in the classroom.
Do you notice any difference between her and the kids who've come from normal kindergartens?
Not at all. They are all prepared to go to school. My own son went to forest kindergarten.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you never had any worries about how he would go at school with
No,
our children?
not at all.
What do you think about the idea that the children should be using?
Okay, so just kindergarten is forest school. And then like what would be our first grade, you start regular traditional school. Okay.
Yeah.
Their time in kindergarten to start to learn some reading, some writing, some maths to get ready for school.
I think this is work spoiled because they are not ready. You have to learn them to be interested in learning.
Over the last 20 years, the number of outdoor kindergartens in Denmark has roughly doubled. And now the forest gospel is spreading. Even schools are looking to take the class outdoors.
Now there's a lot of research been done that shows that children are less stressed, that children concentrate more, that children are ill less often, that their motor development is far, far better for being outdoors than indoors.
And a lot of teachers is, getting, yes,
See, I love this.
Oh, it works. So I'm happy.
Wow.
Great video. Honestly, great video.
That was pretty riveting.
It was super riveting. I sorry at the end there, I really did get sucked in. And I think right now there's a war going on for our children's attention with technology. And I think being able to do something like forest kindergartens brings children back into nature. And I think that's desperately needed in in today's society. Like he was saying, Nadia's husband was saying about, I don't know if Nadia's the little girl or the wife. I think it's the wife. But as he was saying, you know, his kids just want to play on their iPad, and like that's super scary. That's
all technology based.
And so there's a war right now going on with technology and nature, and I think unfortunately technology is winning, and these children aren't getting the survivalist instincts. They're not being in tune with nature. They're not experiencing things that they should. And even though this is just for kindergartners, those are lifelong developmental skills that they're going to carry. Like he said, at the very end, you know, we have to make kids interested in learning.
Yeah.
When you take someone's creativity, their imagination away from them with technology, their attention spans dwindle. We see it today with TikTok and all this. Everybody wants instant gratification.
I'm just going to look up while you're talking where the one in the US is.
there was a time in my life where I got sent to a behavioral therapeutic program that was all outdoors. It was called Three Springs. I was there for a couple months and we were living out in nature and we built our own latrines. We slept in tents. And we were all out in nature. So like I have a deep appreciation for this. It wasn't a kindergarten thing though. It was just kids of all ages up until, 18. So I have appreciation. It's just amazing.
So I found it, but it's not telling me
Where is it located?
where it's located.
Maybe it's just like a volunteer thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually really intrigued because maybe let's go to a different.
Well, we'll look up on this on our own time.
Yeah, I'm not going to take up any more time with this. I thought it was just going to be a quick like boop because it sounds like there's maybe only like one.
And I also think that parents are very overprotective. As each generation goes on, the more protective we become.
Mhm.
Like if you think about it, like in the 70s, kids did whatever the hell they
Yeah,
wanted.
they definitely did.
And then you start seeing, as each generation of people start having kids, the more barriers we put around our children to protect them, right? We don't want our kids hurt. No parent wants their children hurt, but we also don't trust them to not hurt themselves. And that's why that kid climbing up that tree is probably done it 100 times. And we climbed up trees, but you know who hasn't climbed up a tree? My son.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's just those barriers we have to kind of peel back and trust in our own children. There's instincts out there. I mean, they were talking about, I don't know what it's about with the Danes. I'm like, probably their Viking history.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I thought the same thing. I'm like, this is nothing to them.
This is nothing. This has been like their culture for a long time. And I'm not surprised that's Denmark. That's, kind of the forefront here. And that's normal to them. And I think it's great.
Yeah.
I wish it was normalized everywhere. And yeah, great video.
I agree. I would put Declan in Forest Kindergarten.
I would do it. 100%.
I would definitely be that mom that's like, I don't want to see it. Because if I saw him, and again, I lived in trees as a kid. I was constantly riding my bike, skin knees from falling on gravel roads. I was in the tallest tree I could be. It's different as a parent. And you do get protective. You don't want them to get hurt. There is a fine line between being protective and letting them find their way. But I would be scared. I mean, that was a very thin branch. I'd be scared seeing him up there. I wouldn't allow him to do that because I think it is very important. It would scare me. I wouldn't want to see it. If I saw it, I'd be like, okay, my heart would fall out of my butt.
We had an oak tree, like the ones we have out here. Me and my friends climbed that thing. And it wasn't even our house. So we were climbing somebody else's tree, but like all the neighborhood kids did. So like the owner of the house knew us. They were like, all right, be careful up there. It's like, okay, bye.
Bye.
So yeah, I think we're just overly protective and kids don't go outside anymore.
Yeah, that's a big problem. I definitely agree with that. And that's part of why I'm homeschooling my child.
But you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you liked our commentary, give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.